Hello and welcome to another episode of Ghost History Medium. Today we drove to Staten Island and this is Snug Harbor. So this is a historical preserved place with lots of gardens. It's public so you can walk around. There are multiple museums in this location with gardens that you can walk around. There are some rumors that there is some paranormal activity here. We're gonna walk around and see if we can pick up on anything.
Does your wrist still hurt?
Yeah. So as we were wandering through Snug Harbor, I wandered down to this building, which apparently is the chapel, the memorial chapel. It says that on the front of the building. But what actually drew me here was I was getting pain on my right wrist, my right arm. Sometimes that'll happen when they take my hand and bring me somewhere, or bring me to a place, and I do think that this individual was bringing me here. Also, as I arrived, I started getting, and I still have significant pain in my upper left back area. This would be like blunt force, No, this doesn't feel like a gunshot. This feels like blunt force, like something.
Like hit with something.
Hit with something, or crushed with something on my left upper side. But as I'm sitting here in front of this, I'm actually seeing men, and they're in dark uniforms. So these are not, I know that this is a place for sailors. That is something that I do know, that information, that this is a place that was used for housing sailors. But these sailors that I'm seeing, or these individuals that I'm seeing, are not in white uniforms that we typically associate with the Navy today,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Right, they're usually in white uniforms.
Yeah, white, blue.
These ones are in dark blue, may even be black, to be honest. It's either black or dark blue, smooth. I don't really see a lot of buttons on their outfits, and they're walking around, and they're telling me that they're the admirals of the inlet. So the admirals of that's what's literally coming forward, admirals of the inlet. So what they're telling me is that they go out boats, and I don't feel like these are big boats. I feel like these might be like medium size. I don't feel like they're like giant tugboats or like big ships, like not like are now like USS whatever nonsense, those big giant like combat ships. These don't feel like combat ships. These feel like smaller boats that they would go out, and they're even showing me going out at night. They're showing me going out during the day. I'm seeing lanterns on the end of their boats. I don't know what they're doing. Hold on. They're this is before World War I. What are they doing?
Are they working? Are they preparing for a battle or something?
Nope, this is not preparation for a battle. This is like, so they're going out. Okay, so they're guarding and protecting. They're guarding and protecting, but it's not for who we think they would be guarding or protecting against. So who are they guarding and protecting against? Who are they expecting entry? Like, my head wants to say they're protecting against the Germans, because it would be like they want to look for U-boat. Okay, so that came up. They want to look for U-boats, and they want to look for things under the water, and they're looking for bubbles.
You said it was before World War I.
I know. But that's what's also coming up, is that they would be looking for bubbles. So they would sit quietly. So they would be So they would not have motors. So they're saying they wouldn't have motors on these boats because they want to be sitting quietly, like sitting ducks. That's coming up. sitting ducks, and they'd be looking for bubbles. I don't even know if that's something that they would even be looking for a U-boat, but they're saying that they would be looking for bubbles, or like not even disturbances. But they would be like smaller size, medium-sized, not even rowboats, like bigger than rowboats, but maybe like not too much bigger than rowboats, where like 3 or 4 of them would go out in a night and they would have their light on. But they would also turn the light off because if a telescope came up, they didn't want them to see them in the light. So I have no idea if any of this is true, like zero clue. But so they're telling me that they're admirals of the inlet. But it's not the Germans they would be looking for at this time, but I think that they also did that too. There's some other country that they would be concerned about coming in before World War I, and I don't know which one it is.
I honestly couldn't tell you either. So
I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend to guess.
Yeah, I'm not either.
So they're worried about a enemy.
I'm seeing ropes, like cross ropes against on the river, like from side to side. They're talking about those, stringing ropes, big ropes, stringing ropes.
For like anchors or like.
This feels more like maybe tripwires, or not like tripwires for like an explosion, but like a trip alarm wire. When was that movie? With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Titanic?
No, I know when that was. Fair enough. No, this Gangs of New York? When did that movie take place?
I have never seen it.
That just came up. And like it was a little bit of a free-for-all. Yeah, I don't know when that movie takes place. I know it takes place in New York. Does it take place on Staten Island?
I've never seen it, swear to God.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's actually a really good movie. I won awards and stuff. It was a very good movie.
I believe it.
I don't actually remember where it takes place.
It's probably one of the few movies I haven't seen.
But that just came up, Gangs of New York, and that time frame, which is before, it definitely was before World War I, but I'm not sure. I think that might even be like way earlier than, like, I think it was like 1820s, 1830s maybe. I'm not sure, but that just came up, so maybe there's a reference there to something. What were they doing? What were they doing in that movie? They were running stuff. Anyway, okay. So yeah, back to the sailors. I do feel like there were women who lived on this.
Okay.
They're saying that they're like, okay, the word just came up, was food wives.
Okay. Housewife?
Like they're kind of wanting to say mistress, but they were like runners of the houses. Like they ran the houses here, and they fed them, and they were like in charge of. But they were paid for their duties.
Okay.
They were paid, like, I don't think they were like actual wives, and they might have been actual wives, but I don't feel like they were. I feel like they were women paid to, like, take
You got
care
food wives, you got food wives.
take care of the house and take care of where they lived. I just got a big lump in my throat.
Are you getting a specific person, or are you getting
No, they're like coming together as a group talking about it. And they feel of varying ages as well. Like I do feel like they were young men, and maybe even some like 15, 14-year-olds, like even super young like that. But I'm also seeing them as being like 40 to 50. Like I feel like there was a very wide range of sailors living here. Like a very wide range. Like nowadays we typically think of like the Navy and the Army as being like, 18 to 35?
Sure.
Unless they're like upper ranks. But this feels like a very wide range. Yeah, and I'm seeing them, this must be very early because I am seeing them, I'm not seeing them in jeans. I'm seeing the women in long dresses. I'm seeing the men in kind of like, a little bit like what they were wearing in Gangs of New York. Oh, I just started getting pain in my neck. So here is a chapel. I'm trying to see if there was like a denomination or if somebody wants to come forward to talk about the chapel. Services. Oof. So services for men who died, an illness. They're talking about the Spanish influenza now.
So 1918.
Yep. Where it was overrun. Oof. Oh, getting very sick thinking about that being in that time.
Oh yeah. So many people got sick and died from the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Yep, they're talking about that. Is there somebody in particular who wants to come forward? Brandish Bald. B name is coming up. Bernard Brandish. Bald?
He's bald?
No, I feel like this is the name.
Oh.
Bernard?
Okay. How old? What do they look like?
50s. I don't feel like he was one of the lower soldiers. I feel like he was an upper soldier. Maybe even have run this place. He was not well liked at all. He's not a very nice gentleman.
What is he? How's he appearing to you? What does he look like?
He's appearing to me with a bit of a pot belly. He's appearing to me in a suit, nice suit. I see him in suspenders. He's a little haughty. I might have called him Billy for short.
Okay.
Okay, they keep wanting to talk about what they did on the water. They keep bringing me into the water
Okay.
and what they did on the water. So they're also showing me, oh, this is super cool. Oh my God, I hope they did this because this is so cool. Okay, so they're showing me something that they would stick in the water that they could see through. So like from their boat, they would stick something in the water, like either an underwater telescope or something that they could see through, and they would look through the, okay, so this is like a long thing. It's long, it's black, and they could put their eye through, and they could spin it so it didn't turn on its own, like it wasn't mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
Like nowadays we would probably just like push a button and like the bottom would spin, but they didn't have that. They actually turned it. So like they would look through on their eye and they would turn it, and it would look, they could look 360 that way underwater.
In a submarine?
No, like they were in that like secret boat, like in those boats with no motor.
So they're in the boat, and then beneath the boat, it goes through the bottom.
No, on the side. They would hold it over the side of the boat,
Oh.
stick it in the water, and then they would look through and look all around. God, I hope that's true. They're telling me that there was a red light. That would be like, because what they just said is okay, so I just asked about like how would you alert people to stuff that's going on, and they said that there was a light system, but it would be a red light. So if there was a red light, then that was a warning that something was wrong.
Sure.
And they're also saying that there was a bell, that they would ring a bell. I know there is a bell over there. I don't know what that bell is for or what it's from, but they would also ring a bell, and there would be this alarm bell that they would, but it would be first triggered by the light. And there's another sailor port. They're saying that there's another one that way on the other side, like another group.
Okay.
On the other side of the inlet. They keep calling it an inlet. And I'm getting a very varied nationality for a lot of these. Very varied. Like, I'm seeing Asians, I'm seeing Europeans, I'm seeing some African Americans. It's very varied. But again, they keep bringing me to so this time frame of like the Gangs of New York time frame. Then they bring me to right before World War I, when they're looking for the U-boats, looking for submarines from the bubbles.
Were U-boats from World War II?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. This is my perception of what you're.
Sure.
This is what
Hold
you.
on, I just asked if this was like military sailors. And they were like, yes and no. So they might have been also private. Oh, my arm is, oh boy. Okay, what's this? Oh boy. Yeah, they had services here for sailors. I feel like it was maybe not military and then became military. But I do feel like there's a privatized notion to this. Yeah, anything else?
Are you getting any messages that they want to relay, or?
They just referenced somebody did leave a log. I wonder if this is in the museum. But one of the sailors did leave a log. There was a daily log, and they wrote in. So they wrote in who went out, and they wrote out who came in. So like they signed in and signed out, but they didn't. I don't think they did it on their own. I think somebody wrote it for them. I think it was a way of knowing like who was out there and who came back, and like. So I'm not getting like this was like a training camp for the war. You know what I mean? I'm not. Some of the. I don't feel like it was that. I don't feel like it was a fort where it's not a fort, but I don't feel like it was a place where they trained. I mean, they trained, but I don't feel like it was more like a domestic thing. Okay, so they're talking about the log. There's a log of dates and times, weather conditions, what was noted. I'm asking about combat, if there was something about combat, and they're telling me that they did have something to do with the capture of a submarine. God, I hope some of this is true.
It's got to be somewhat true, right? Like,
because I know nothing other than that they housed sailors here. Other than that, I know nothing. So yeah.
I know zero things.
So let's see if we can find this Bernard. This gentleman that had this crushing injury on the back here. He keeps following me. He's younger. He's maybe in his 30s. Full set of hair, dark beard. Maybe even red. It might even be red. It would have broken ribs. It might have even broken his back. I'm seeing it as being like a pole, like some type of pipe or pole. Something went like right into his back. Okay, so we just got to the Matron House, and I was drawn to this as we were walking by before going to the chapel, and I thought that we should come back here, and it turned out to be the Matron House. So what I'm seeing here, I'm already getting tingles all over my left leg and on my back, but what I'm seeing here is I'm actually seeing like widows, and I'm seeing like older women, like older, like, I mean, there's a range of them, but I do feel like they're widows. Or most of them are widows, and they're saying that that was kind of part of the structure. So, like, if one of their husbands died, they could choose to stay here.
Oh,
I don't know.
I think that's a thing.
But I'm seeing some of them in rocking chairs on the front of this porch. They're in black clothing, so I do feel like this is more like Victorian time. They're in black long dresses. And they're in a rocking chair. I'm seeing like maybe blankets over them. But this was a house full of women. And what I was saying before was there was one that was coming up that was a little more prominent, and I do feel like people see her. She's a taller woman. She's more full. She's wearing a dress, a black skirt, white top, like a white blousey top, black skirt, simple. Walking around. So I see her actually like walking here, see her walking around. She's just like walking around. They are talking about, now I did look inside, and it does look like they are doing renovations inside, but they actually are talking about the renovations. And what they're saying about the renovations is it's plain Jane is the word coming up, plain Jane. They want, what feels like they want happening is they want more lace. They're talking about doilies, wallpaper. There might have, okay, so I don't know if there was a nursery in here at some point, but they are talking about a nursery. I don't know, these feel like older women of varying ages, but I am getting the sense that they were widows. Like that's actually what's coming up, is specifically like widows. And I do feel like there's like, some of them, they sit out here and they're on rocking chairs. And I guess I think that's all. Oh, a name that did come up was Matilda.
Matilda, yeah.
And that's not a name I usually get.
And you think that's someone that's talking to you now, or do you think that's just somebody associated with this house?
That might be the woman walking around. But I'm also seeing her as older. Because I am specifically seeing a woman in a rocking chair over here with like glasses. And she's older. I mean, like, I'm gonna go like with 80s older. Lived her life here, stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about this. They like the house. They like it, man. It's good. They had a bigger garden back in their time. They had a bigger, more walking space. They would walk in back, so I feel like there was a garden in back at the time that they could walk. And they would walk and, you know, promenade, you know, like.
And appreciate it.
Yeah. What did Victorian women do? They went for walks. They went for walks. But yeah, that's the time frame I'm getting with this image. I'm not particularly being drawn to something past that, other than I do feel like maybe a family lived here after the matrons left. It might have been like a family, but I'm not really getting much particular after that.
Cool.
All right, let's go to the cottages. Okay. So this is interesting. So what I'm picking up here is an individual that actually fell down the stairs and died.
It's not happy at all?
No, that's not happy at all. It feels like a man. I don't actually think this was very long ago. This could be like 1950s, 1960s.
Okay. When did you get the feeling that these were here?
Bringing up gardener, he's bringing up maintenance. I don't know if he was doing maintenance or something, and it might even have been like he slipped and fell here and hit his head. But I'm getting severe head pain, and I do feel like it was a stair. Specifically, which cottage is this?
I don't remember.
We can
C?
Cottage C? Yeah, so we can specifically find out if anything happened in Cottage C. These were, okay, so the gentleman who, this was back like in the sailor time, because I don't know if this gentleman who passed that I'm picking up was actually a sailor, but the gentlemen who did live here as sailors, they would kind of like fight over these places. There was like priority. This was like from the married ones. So like not the bachelors. For the married ones. And this would be more of like higher level, but there was like a waiting list, and they would really covet these, like when you got to be in one of the cottage rows. Name Elizabeth is coming up. Commander is coming up.
From when?
I don't know. But I do think people might see or experience this gentleman. Like I said, I don't think this happened very long ago, but like an activity, walking up and down to market, that's happening. I don't know why that's coming up, walking up and down to market. And in general, it was kind of a loud place. Yeah, I want to say, like, at first I was like, oh, this was peaceful. Then I'm like, no. This was a very loud place. Banging.
It's funny, it's a very peaceful place
now. Yeah, I know, it's
now.
very peaceful now, but I am feeling like back then it was not. It was very loud. So they like the peace now, but it was very loud back then. I just got the sense that 2 families would have been in one of these. And how that came up was because all of a sudden I started getting information about children, and I was like, well, where were they? If they had something about if they had children, they had to move. Or like if they had children, they had to leave. But I do feel like there were children in these, and it was like a split family, so like 2 families would live here. And knocking. I might hear knocking.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just felt like people who work in these buildings might hear knocking. I don't feel like super creeped out in this place at all. Do you feel creeped out?
Not even a little bit.
No, not even a little bit. Not at all.
Feels very inviting, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Let's go to the Maritime Museum and see if we can corroborate any of the stuff that the sailors were talking about to me. Let's see if we can do that. Let's do that next.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just finished up our walk around by going to the Noble Maritime Collection to see if we could verify any of the information that we picked up on our walkthrough. And let me just tell you that this museum is fabulous. It is very well presented. There's tons of pictures and artifacts from this time here of this being a home for sailors, but it also has artifacts and information from authors and artists in the area. I'm really excited to tell you about some of the individuals that we came across in there and some of the history, and we'll give that to you all in the reveal, so stay tuned.